5 trucks Americans are dumping right now, and if you own one, you'd better listen.
If you drive a Ford F-150, listen up. Ford is recalling more than 100,000 F-150 pickup trucks, and some of the affected models were made between 2023 and 2025.
Mechanics across the country are warning about catastrophic flaws that turn reliable names into garage nightmares. And in 2025, resale values are crashing as frustrated drivers cut their losses before the next breakdown. So which 5 pickups are financial landmines? What hidden issues could leave you stranded tomorrow? And is your truck on the list? Because by the end of this countdown, you'll know exactly which rides to steer clear of. GMC Sierra 1500. There is a certain kind of sting that comes from paying extra for refinement, only to discover that all you really bought was more polished trouble. That is exactly what happened with the GMC Sierra 1500 during the model years running from 2007 through 2016. On the surface, the Sierra was marketed as the gentleman's pickup, the cousin of the Chevrolet Silverado that wore nicer clothes, chrome accents, and interiors that felt more suburban driveway than dusty job site. For many proud buyers, this truck seemed like the perfect compromise. A machine tough enough to tow the family camper, but refined enough to roll up to a client's office without looking like farm equipment. But beneath that image lurked one of General Motors' most infamous engineering experiments, and it brought nothing but headaches. The heart of the problem was a piece of technology called active fuel management. In theory, active fuel management was supposed to make V8 engines more efficient by shutting down 4 cylinders under light loads. The idea looked clever on paper, saving fuel without giving up the power people expected from a truck. In practice, however, this system relied on fragile hydraulic lifters. When those lifters collapsed, they did not fail quietly. They chewed into camshafts, shed metal into the oil, and triggered the dreaded ticking noise that mechanics across America have learned to recognize instantly. What began as a faint tap could escalate into full engine destruction before an owner even had time to schedule a service appointment. Many longtime Sierra drivers admitted that what hurt most was not just the mechanical bills, but the loss of confidence. A truck is supposed to inspire trust every time the key turns. Instead, owners carried doubt, wondering if today's drive would end in reliability or ruin. Owners who rolled into repair shops with what they thought was a minor tune-up often walked out with repair bills well north of $7,000. If the destruction spread deep enough to require an entire replacement engine, the tab could climb beyond $15,000, turning a once valuable truck into a financial anchor. To make matters worse, oil consumption became a constant burden. Engines equipped with active fuel management frequently burned a quart every 1,000 miles, forcing owners to carry bottles of oil like cargo. Some trucks even seized after running dry, while official dealership fixes such as oil pan deflectors or software updates proved to be weak band-aids on a gaping wound. What stung most for Sierra drivers was the betrayal of expectations. They had paid more than Silverado buyers, believing the GMC badge offered durability with polish. Instead, they got all the same catastrophic flaws with none of the reliability premium. Lawsuits piled up, online forums filled with angry testimonies, and mechanics across the nation warned shoppers to think twice before buying used Sierras from this period. A truck that was supposed to symbolize refinement ended up representing regret. And so, when the chrome trim dulled and the repair bills mounted, thousands of owners quietly walked away, trading their once proud Sierras for anything that promised fewer nightmares. But General Motors was not the only American badge guilty of selling engines that punished loyalty. Another story from a brand that claimed the crown of best-selling truck in the country shows how even kings can fall. If this breakdown is already saving you headaches, subscribe to our channel right now and drop a comment below. Share your own truck story, because your experience could save another driver's wallet. Ford F-150. When men gather around tailgates and talk about engines that should have been bulletproof but instead turned into nightmares, the Ford Triton 5.4-liter almost always dominates the conversation. This was not some obscure engine tucked into a forgotten model. No. This power plant sat proudly under the hood of the best-selling pickup in America, the Ford F-150, throughout the model years spanning 2004 to 2010. Ford promised flexibility, strength, and efficiency wrapped inside its modular engine design. Families trusted it for road trips, contractors relied on it for heavy work, and farmers counted on it for everyday chores. Yet what rolled off the assembly lines carried flaws so deep that seasoned mechanics still shake their heads when they hear a customer mention 5.4. The first flaw that soured owners was the infamous spark plug disaster. Thin aluminum threads in the cylinder heads stripped easily, and plugs could shoot out with a sound like gunfire. On the other side, plugs sometimes fused themselves into place, breaking apart when a mechanic tried to remove them. Either way, repairs demanded special tools, insert kits, and patience measured in hours. What should have been routine maintenance often turned into a repair bill of $1,000 or more, leaving drivers stunned. But the misery did not end with spark plugs. Timing chains in the Triton engine stretched far earlier than expected, throwing off the rhythm of combustion. When chains jumped or broke entirely, pistons collided with valves, and catastrophic destruction followed. A full timing set replacement commonly cost between $4,000 and $6,000, assuming no valve damage. If valves were bent, the bill could easily exceed $10,000, enough to make some owners abandon their trucks entirely. Cam phasers, meant to adjust valve timing smoothly, rattled like diesel engines at idle, a sound that turned driveways into echo chambers of dread. The clatter became so well known that mechanics could diagnose the problem without even lifting the hood. For countless families, the worst part of owning a Triton-equipped F-150 was the constant anxiety. Every strange sound raised suspicion. Every hesitation felt like the beginning of another expensive breakdown. Instead of pride in America's top-selling truck, many owners felt chained to an unpredictable money pit. Ignition coils joined the list of weaknesses, burning out one after another. With 8 coils under the hood, and each costing $200 to $400, the expense piled high like poker chips on a losing hand. Add to that constant oil leaks from valve covers and gaskets, along with fragile cooling components, and the legendary F-150 lost its shine. Some trucks were parked permanently behind barns, their repairs exceeding their resale value. The saddest part was trust broken. Buyers believed Ford's Crown Jewel pickup meant safety and strength, but what they received was an engine that drained wallets and patience. Lawsuits came, complaints stacked, yet production carried on for years. For many families, it was betrayal written in oil stains on driveways. And as grim as the Triton tale is, the next chapter shows another legendary badge stumbling into disaster, with a ticking sound so infamous it earned its own nickname and haunted owners coast to coast. Ram 1500. Among the roaring names in American truck culture, few stir as much nostalgia and pride as the word Hemi. For decades, the Hemi badge symbolized drag strip victories, muscle car dominance, and brute force under the hood of work trucks. Buyers stepping into a Ram 1500 equipped with the 5.7-liter Hemi believed they were buying into that legend, a heritage of strength that stretched back to the golden era of horsepower. Yet during the model years from 2013 through 2020, that same Hemi became a magnet for complaints, a source of wallet-draining repairs, and the cause of sleepless nights for countless owners. It all began with a sound so notorious it earned its own nickname, the Hemi tick. At first, it might arrive as a faint tapping, easily dismissed as ordinary engine chatter. But as miles accumulated, the noise often grew louder, signaling lifters and camshafts grinding themselves apart inside the block. Once metal shavings began circulating with the oil, the damage spread rapidly. Owners who delayed repairs risked catastrophic engine failure, while those who acted quickly still faced bills ranging from several $1,000s to figures high enough to rival the price of a used car. The tick transformed a badge of pride into a constant reminder that the engine was living on borrowed time. The trouble did not stop at lifters. Exhaust manifold bolts on these Hemis were infamous for snapping. When that happened, hot gases leaked past the seals, creating a harsh tractor-like noise and sometimes melting nearby components. Repairs that sounded simple on paper ballooned into $2,000 to $3,000 jobs because of labor-heavy designs and expensive alloys. Add to that chronic oil leaks from valve covers and oil pans, and the once mighty Ram left dark stains on countless driveways across America. Transmission issues added insult to injury. Many Ram trucks of this period carried the 8-speed automatic gearbox that promised smooth shifts and improved fuel economy. In reality, owners complained of hesitation, hard jolts, and outright failures. Rebuilding or replacing the unit often cost between $5,000 and $8,000, and too many drivers discovered that even after repairs, the problems sometimes returned within short mileage. For those who depended on their trucks for work, every breakdown meant lost time and lost income. The multi-displacement system, Chrysler's version of cylinder deactivation, only poured gasoline on the fire. Intended to save fuel by shutting down half the cylinders, it placed extra stress on an already fragile valve train. Mechanics frequently advised disabling the system entirely, but that came with warranty risks and potential complications. By the mid-2010s, entire online communities were devoted not to celebrating the Ram, but to sharing Hemi-Tick horror stories, posting videos of knocking engines, and consoling frustrated owners who had poured thousands into repairs. Consumer trust eroded quickly. Men who had grown up dreaming of Hemis found themselves budgeting for lifter replacements instead of family vacations. The reality was simple: reputation could not guarantee reliability. And while the Hemi's fall from grace was bitter, the next entry on this list shows how another trusted American workhorse also betrayed its loyal following, this time wearing the bow tie badge. Chevrolet Silverado 1500. Ask any hardworking American driver what truck defined small towns and job sites through the mid-2000 decade, and the Chevrolet Silverado 1500 will almost certainly be mentioned. This pickup symbolized the bow tie badge's promise of grit and reliability. With its broad stance, chrome grille, and rumbling 5.3-liter V8, it became the truck that farmers, contractors, and family men proudly parked in their driveways. But for all its marketing glory, the Silverado from model years 2005 through 2015 carried a mechanical gamble so costly it drove thousands of owners away and left mechanics shaking their heads. That gamble was called active fuel management. The concept behind active fuel management was simple in theory. By deactivating half of the cylinders when the truck was under light load, General Motors promised better fuel economy without sacrificing V8 power. Unfortunately, the lifters responsible for switching cylinders on and off proved fragile. When those lifters collapsed, they chewed grooves into the camshaft and sent metallic shavings floating through the oil system. What should have been innovation became devastation. Drivers began to notice the dreaded ticking noise under the hood, a sound that quickly became the trademark of looming financial disaster. Once failure began, symptoms cascaded. Engines lost power, acceleration stumbled, and dashboard warning lights flashed with misfire codes. A simple scan might show uneven compression or outright cylinder deactivation failure. Mechanics discovered that by the time lifters collapsed, the damage rarely stayed contained. Bearings wore prematurely, cam lobes scarred, and the entire engine faced slow destruction. Owners expecting an affordable tune-up often walked out of repair shops clutching bills north of $7,000. If ignored too long, replacement engines costing $15,000 or more became the only option. For working men and families counting on their truck daily, that was financial heartbreak. Adding insult to injury, Silverado models of this era were plagued with relentless oil consumption. Some trucks burned a quart every 1,000 miles, forcing owners to haul spare oil in the bed just to survive long trips. Many engines seized after running dry, while dealerships offered patches like revised oil pan deflectors or software updates that barely delayed the inevitable. Frustration spread across forums and lawsuits, while independent mechanics built entire businesses disabling active fuel management systems permanently. Yet even those modifications carried risks of voided warranties and emissions complications. Not every Silverado failed early. Meticulous owners who changed oil religiously and babied their trucks sometimes stretched mileage past 150,000 before disaster struck. Still, enough failures occurred that Consumer Reports reliability scores sank. Loyal Chevrolet customers, once proud to wear the bow tie, defected to Ford or Ram, feeling betrayed by the brand they trusted. What had once been America's workhorse now became a cautionary tale, proof that clever engineering shortcuts can backfire spectacularly. And as painful as the Silverado's story is, the #1 truck on this list reveals an even greater collapse, a gamble that paired a respected diesel name with a bold Nissan experiment that went terribly wrong. Before we reveal the final truck, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you never miss another list that protects your money and your ride. One click today keeps you ahead of costly mistakes tomorrow. Stay tuned, the worst is next. Nissan Titan X-D. Every so often, a manufacturer swings for the fences, hoping to rewrite the rules of the truck market. For Nissan, that ambitious gamble came in the form of the Titan XD, equipped with the Cummins 5.0-liter diesel V8. On paper, this truck looked like the perfect bridge between half-ton convenience and heavy-duty muscle. Advertisements promised the refinement of a light-duty pickup combined with the pulling power of a big-block diesel. Owners imagined towing horse trailers, hauling construction equipment, and cruising highways with the confidence of Cummins engineering. Yet from the very beginning, reality crashed hard against expectation. and the Titan X-D quickly became one of the most notorious failures of the modern pickup era. The core issue was not one single flaw, but a chain of mechanical landmines. The Cummins 5.0-liter diesel was adapted from European designs and saddled with complex emissions hardware. Exhaust gas recirculation valves clogged prematurely, diesel exhaust fluid systems glitched, and diesel particulate filters filled with soot, forcing trucks into limp mode at the worst possible times. For working men counting on their truck to reach a job site, limping home at 30 miles per hour was not just inconvenient, it was business-breaking. Mechanics soon realized that emissions overhauls could easily climb past $8,000, leaving owners stunned and frustrated. Turbocharger failures added to the misery. Many Titan XD owners reported turbos seizing or shattering before the odometer reached 80,000 miles. When a turbo let go, shards of metal traveled through intake and exhaust paths, sometimes destroying intercoolers and exhaust systems. A single turbo replacement could cost $4,000 before labor, with final repair bills stretching to $6,000 or $7,000. Combined with emissions repairs, total costs of $12,000 to $15,000 were not uncommon, leaving owners staring at invoices higher than the resale value of their trucks. Sensors created another layer of frustration. Nitrogen oxide sensors, essential to the emissions system, often failed repeatedly. Each replacement could cost more than $2,000, and trucks frequently refused to operate properly until the faulty sensors were swapped. Add in chronic coolant leaks from radiators and hoses, and drivers faced breakdowns that left them stranded roadside with steam pouring from under the hood. The emotional toll was just as severe as the financial one. Buyers had trusted the Cummins name to guarantee durability. Many had been loyal Nissan drivers hoping for a truck that would finally challenge Ford, Chevrolet, and Ram. Instead, they ended up renting vehicles just to keep working or canceling family road trips because the Titan was stuck in a repair bay. By the time Nissan discontinued the diesel Titan in 2019, resale values had cratered. Forums were filled with horror stories, and mechanics advised used truck shoppers to steer clear entirely. If the Silverado represented shortcuts gone wrong, and the Hemi-Tick symbolized betrayal of tradition, then the Titan X-D stands as the ultimate cautionary tale. It proved that even a badge as respected as Cummins cannot save a poorly adapted design. And that wraps up our countdown of the 5 pickup trucks owners are dumping in 2025. If you made it this far, you already know how costly the wrong choice can be. Now it's your turn. Drop your story in the comments because your experience might save another driver from disaster. Smash that like button if this breakdown helped you, and most importantly, subscribe with notifications on so you never miss the next list designed to protect your money and your ride. Stay sharp, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next video.